Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out. From your neighbor to City Hall. Reach out, go vote, show out. Serving people is what it's all about. Reach out, go vote, show out. Frankfort civic proud. Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out.
From Capitol Halls to Bourbon Balls, this is the City of Frankfort podcast for the Frankfortians. We're swapping stories, spilling the tea, and celebrating the quirks that make Kentucky's capital the best hometown around. Welcome to the City of Frankfort podcast. I'm Sara, and today I'm being joined by the city's finance director, Amber Moreland. Amber and her team are in charge of managing all the money for the city, and today's episode is all about something that impacts every resident, every business, and every neighborhood: the city budget process and where your tax dollars go. Amber, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start with some basics. When we say city budget, what are we really talking about?
When we refer to the city budget, we're actually referring or talking about the city's comprehensive financial plan for the year.
Okay.
So it outlines what our expected revenues are going to be and authorizes how those resources are going to be allocated across all departments.
Oh, sounds complicated. What are some of the major things that the city budget covers?
So you've got primarily public safety, public works and infrastructure, parks, recreation, your general administration of government, capital projects, debt service, and community and economic development.
A lot.
It is a lot, but these dollars don't fall.
That's good. So Amber, this is your first time on the podcast, so we want to take a minute to kind of get to know you. How long have you been with the city?
I've been with the city a little over a year now. My background is primarily in higher education, finance. However, I transitioned to city and it's fund accounting, similar budgetary processes, similar fund accounting. So it's been interesting. There's a lot of differences. There's a lot of great people trying to do good here, and it's been fantastic working with it.
Awesome. How does the city decide what gets funded and what doesn't?
The city decides what gets funded through a structured budgeting process that balances each department's priorities, strategic needs and goals, and available resources. So departments submit requests based on their goals, and they're evaluated against things like, do we have enough revenues for those goals? What are essential services that we need to get covered? What are the city's strategic goals for the year? Do we have any legal or contractual obligations that have to come first? And community input and demand for services. Okay. So from there, a proposed budget is developed, refined, and then presented to the board of commissioners.
Sounds like a process.
Approval. Yes, it's a lengthy one.
So as the public works director, our department has a pretty significant portion of the city's budget. Maintaining infrastructure and providing basic services is one of our core responsibilities and one of the core responsibilities of local government. Tell us how the public works section of the general fund budget breaks down.
The public works section is typically focuses on the day-to-day operations of the city, basically operating efficiently and safely. And it generally breaks down into some key areas like personnel costs, operation and maintenance. And operation and maintenance sounds pretty generic, but that covers routine upkeep of streets, sidewalks, flood wall, transit, sanitation, and public facilities. You've got things like equipment and fleet that you have to maintain, replacement of trucks, machinery, and tools. And then we've got materials and supplies like asphalt, signage, and salt. It's a lot of stuff. You know all this stuff.
A lot of stuff, and it does kind of sound when you break it down like it's not much, but it's a big chunk there. So when somebody pays their property tax bill, how much of that actually goes to supporting public works?
Property taxes are only one source of revenue for the city, so it's not a direct link, but rather a proportional share of it. So public works makes up about 11% of the general fund budget. So you could say 11 cents of your tax bill, property tax bill, goes towards public works.
Okay.
Just in a generic statement.
Okay. How are taxes different than fees when it comes to the city's revenue?
Taxes are just generally broad and distributed amongst all departments, where fees are specific to a service. You're paying for a license, you're paying for a permit, or you're paying for a recreational program.
Okay. That makes sense. So let's talk about the process of developing this budget. Right now, we're actually in the middle. of city budgeting process. And a lot of people may assume that the budget gets decided in just one meeting. We sit down and I say, Amber, this is what I need. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's definitely more to it than
There's
that.
definitely more to it than that. So
When does it actually begin?
we actually start budgeting early February and it goes all the way through June. So we're having conversations with departments, elected officials, the community from February to June, and June's when it's officially published and adopted. However, it's an annual process. It's continually changing. Every time you see a budget amendment on the agenda, that's a change to our annual budget.
Okay. What would you say to residents who want to be more involved and informed on the city budgeting process?
I'd encourage residents to stay engaged and attend our public meetings. The budget is ultimately a reflection of our community priorities, so input does matter. Your local officials hear you. They're out there having conversations with you right now, and those conversations are reflected in our budgetary decisions.
Okay, good advice. So you said that your previous experience was mostly in higher education. What would you say in terms of coming to the city and our budgeting process? What's been kind of the most interesting or surprising aspect?
It's really complicated because you've got multiple departments providing essential services to a big city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a little big town. I would consider us a little big town. It feels like we're growing. And it's oftentimes difficult to determine where our limited resources can go. Is it public safety? Is it public works and infrastructure? And those are all difficult conversations from February to June until we decide how the revenues that we do have and that we are analyzing and predicting, what those actually look like and how we can spend them for each department. And then each department, from a top level approach, we're listening to all departments.
Yeah.
And then each department has to listen. I'm sure it's difficult for you to determine between transit, sanitation, the garage, flood wall, and streets. Who gets those funds?
Yeah, prioritizing especially
what are the priorities? Absolutely.
Our big asks.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with inflation, costs are going up, costs more these days. And we are limited in our revenues. So
absolutely.
It's quite difficult to determine where those resources and revenues go for each department.
And I have found that year to year, it seems like priorities, as fun and exciting as they can be, as they change or more, you have to roll with that.
Absolutely.
You have to change with it. And so my priority last year may not be the same as public work priority this coming year.
Yeah.
And so, we just have to work through it.
It's ever changing. And, I've found that each department, they're having difficult conversations with their superintendents and their directors.
During this process, even within departments, there often has to be kind of difficult conversations about how to best manage the monies that are allocated in each area. Can you do you have any examples?
We're working through efficiencies on software for one unified system so that we can reduce some of our contracts. We're looking at current contracts to ensure best value for each department.
And in public works, we've been developing policies in order to cut down on wear and tear of vehicles and also save on spending money on activities in the roof.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. Well, Amber, we thank you and your department so much for all of the work that you guys put into the city budget process. And we thank you for helping us to better understand how the city plans, spends, and stays accountable. Here on our little podcast, we like to end each of our shows with a Frankfort rapid fire, kind of a fun, informal little thing. So as a fellow Frankfortian, we want to hear some of your takes on our little town.
All
right. Just say the first thing that comes to mind. No explanation needed.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is your favorite season in Frankfort?
Fall.
Ooh. How about preference, coffee versus tea?
Coffee.
Oh, I'm a tea girl.
Stick with the coffee.
One word to describe the city budgeting process.
Deliberate.
Ooh, excellent. Deliberate. That's Mexican restaurant.
That's not fair.
Too many options.
I would go with agave now and in the summer meat. Yes.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Different places for different seasons. I get it. And how about your favorite Frankfort park?
Coke Springs.
Upper or lower? Well, okay. Very good. Well, guys, thank you for joining us this week. We'll catch you again next week on the City of Frankfort podcast. Don't forget to follow our podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and make sure that you subscribe to our show feed on Podbean to get weekly episode notifications. Bye.
Thank you.
Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out. From your neighbor